Good morning or afternoon, everybody, depending on where you're from. So let's continue with our line retopology. If you think the line looks a bit different in the stream, that's because I did a couple of things. Firstly, I went in the viewport shading, went back to Studio from Matcap, and here you have the option to click cavity, so it just basically shows a little bit more of the sculpt, and yeah, it just gives more clarity of the peaks and valleys. So that's the difference there. And also, I did change my system in system preferences, the display graphics to Vulkan, because that's something that's available from Blender 4.5 onwards, and I just want to give that a try, but make sure I'll have to remember to save often because I heard about a few frequent crashes with Vulkan viewport, but it's generally designed to work faster. So yeah, I thought why not? Let's give that a try. So this is where we were in the last stream. So let's carry on. So from here, I've got to go. So the challenge here is that we have this really strong tendons that we want to really capture with the modeling. So at some point, we'll have to go this way. So let's say there's a poly strip that goes on either side, representing the sides, and then one that goes from the top. So maybe I'll go all the way here and then turn back to join there. That's not what I'm thinking. But also here there's a join, so I want these to be rather close. So wherever there's a joint and it needs to turn, just give a little bit more polygon density there. But a lot of this is going to matter less in this sort of a VFX model than it does in a like an animation model because most of our deformations are driven through simulations in a VFX setting. So still stick to the fundamentals, like having the loops where it needs to be and all. But a lot of the topology that I see is just basic quad topology and not any additional thought given to things like joints, etc., because they know that a lot of those deformations are going to come from CFX anyway. So just having that dense poly count is what is key for VFX as compared to say games or animation. And what we are modeling is very, very low res, which will be subdivided. The final model that will be rigged and animated will be much, much denser than this. But obviously, there's no point modeling the density. We only model the edge flow and then subdivide to get the polygon density that we need. So even for grooming, you need quite a lot of polygons. So oftentimes, when I do my personal projects, I decide on a low-res version, subdivide it maybe once or twice before grooming and any CFX stuff that you might want to do. So this should actually go to the side. bit more side. I think that's fine. And we could have a loop here ideally to really conform the geometry, but I'm gonna leave it at that. And then we need to do something on here that goes this way, right? And then bring that across. So we go do another strip that goes all around and fill it up the way we did this finger. I think here we can maybe select a loop. So say select polyquill loop, edge loop. See if we can just get this to that captures all of these edges that I don't want. So going back to polyquill, I may just Control Shift and delete these extra polygons that I don't need. Oops, I think I have a strip of poly that went under. Let's delete that. Yeah, hopefully that did it. Yeah, that's clean. Save. So you get the idea. Just and then we'll have to figure out a way to join these and then create these pads, and that will be the foot. Just gonna smooth out some of these loops. Okay, let's do the same here. Drag it. So it's starting to go around. Let's go around. We may have to break this one. Go like that. Come back here. Okay. So I'm going to need to find edges on this side, and we're going to have to find a way to join them. Basically, there's going to be a loop that comes from there, goes around. Let's do that first. So yeah, need to go around these stinky feet. So hard to do this. Ah, no, we don't want to do that. We want to go across around this. So sorry about that. Oh, crap, the arrow. So that looks like the poly we're joining to. So this is going to give us that finger split deformations. This whole thing needs to be moved a little bit to the right. So this is where I'm just doing that approach we've been seeing a lot on LinkedIn and Facebook lately. People posting about just do something and you can fix it later. So that's literally the approach here. It's just put down these polygons, and if something isn't right, you can fix later. But yeah, it's just without actually having anything. Yeah, you really don't know where to go. Now I know some people like when you're teaching retopology, there are ways they do it where you could just draw your polygons out on the model, like take a render of your model, draw the polygons, plan it properly, and yes, there is uh, you know substance to that, and it is worth it in some situations. But for a lot of us who are doing just personal projects, it's just an overkill and nothing more. Because you will, as you do, figure out where you should have polygons based on how your understanding of how the model um, works. The locomotion of this model. How, I mean, here I'm thinking, okay, these fingers should be able to be split, and therefore I need a loop cut here and that sort of thing. You just do it on the fly. But when I first learned this in an institute, I did a course for game modeling in 2012, I think. And yeah, we had an exercise where you just had to draw the loops out and make sure it's working, get that approved, and then you go ahead and do the modeling, which is great for university stuff. But in production, because there's so many other shortcuts, like you wouldn't even have to retopologize this way in production, because you have a lot of base meshes anyway, right? The studio has them, and you just wrap it around um, your model. Like even if you have like a quadruped, say ZBrush has this dog model, you can just cut the dog up and wrap it around this lion, and so you have an already approved topology. You're just slapping it on. So I could have done that for this, but I just wanted to use Polyquilt because I haven't used it in a long time, and I also wanted a bit of practice for myself. So just to letting you know that there are many different ways. This is not the only way to do retopology. And what I end up having may not be 100% accurate in every area, but that's okay, as you'll see. There's so many ways around the problems that may be caused by lack of correct topology in certain areas. But the most important areas, you want to get it right to save yourself the pain. Like the fingers, I really don't think about how these should be. It just needs to make sense and capture the underlying um, high-res geometry. And if it's getting the silhouette that you're after, then you've done a good job. I want to go this way here because there's this crease, right? So I'm thinking about how to capture that. So I might leave this bit for now and focus on getting the geometry around these paths because this will sort of lead us and give us some idea how to approach these holes for the nails, which, to be fair, is not consistent or perfect, but just get some geometry there and we can move the pixels around. Okay, so for to do that, I'll continue like with this finger, and then we'll have the something that we can use to start modeling those pads. So for this, I'm going to go around. And yes, there is still no AI that can do this for you, which is a shame. And the workflow of just generating good enough looking topology with AI and then fixing that doesn't work because, to be honest, we already have zero measure that does that, that gets us what would look like 90% of the way or even more. So all you think is, oh, I just have to fix some of these areas. Works fine for cartoony models, but unfortunately not great for realistic ones like a lion. And you can try. I mean, it's hard to explain, but you will run into so many issues that you feel like scrap it. Just gonna do it from scratch. You know, it takes more or less the same time, and you're in control all throughout the process. So yeah, sometimes keep an eye on what's out there, what's coming in terms of AI, and would love to know from you guys if there is one uh, that recently come out and I haven't noticed that does perfect retopology. Because if the AI developers asked any of us what we wanted, I think pretty much every one of us would say, yeah, auto retopology and maybe auto UV. If that can save us time, we'd appreciate it. But who's asking us? So this should go there. So because yeah, it's incredibly hard when you think about it. A lot of things to do with creature effects, it's just incredibly hard. AI will come to this, maybe if it does, really at the very end in decades, because they're still experimenting a lot with human anatomy, automation, and all that stuff, because it's doable, it's much more possible. But yeah, there's so much that could go wrong with the creature, creating creatures, especially stuff like dragons and all. You can recycle and get something that's already done and get AI to regurgitate the same stuff. But it is going to be incredibly hard to capture all the mechanics, everything to do with CFX, just through a single button. Sure, it'll happen at some point, but judging by the lack of development in the last 3 years, I mean, pretty much in terms of Gen AI, I haven't seen much change. Nothing useful has happened. But I really like the machine learning tools that have come in Houdini 21, which would help a lot of artists to create their own models, which is useful, I think. Many studios are going to jump on that. But even stuff like ML deformers, for example, great for most real-time context, but not enough for, say, film or TV. That's why some maybe I'm drawn to creature art so much is because it's so hard to like automate and have one button click solutions. Like you want to automate as much as possible, but I don't think anybody wants a one button click solution, especially when the outcome is mediocre at best. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think uh, will happen to creature art in particular? Do you agree that this is the thing that AI is gonna get to really at the end? So let's say AI, the way it's evolving at the moment, maybe 5 years to automate pretty much 60-70% of VFX production, but maybe 10 years to say automate most of the creature production. I don't know. I don't think it's even fully possible. Like the most human intervention will probably happen in this area, in my opinion. Cre Creature stuff, CFX, rigging, modeling, although it will change drastically in the next 5-6 years. Like maybe there won't be much of modeling to do at all, but just cleanups and then go to rigging, where again it'll be more like cleanups and adding stuff to what AI generated. Yeah, but nothing's going to stop any hobbyist to do some cool projects. Yeah, whatever happens, I mean, right now we have plenty of demand for creature art, and nobody is using AI. So if it was already there, I'm pretty sure studios and everybody would jump on it to save money. But if they're not able to do that, it means, yeah, there is still hope for artists. So yeah, I think here I have to, because there's so much gap, I'm gonna have to turn this poly loop around. I mean, the same could be said with grooming. I've seen some papers about like machine using machine learning. You could use an image and basically generate guides. But the result that I've seen, I can't remember the artist's name, but it's a brilliant idea and very practical as well. So essentially, say you take this lion into Houdini and feed the algorithm a photo of a lion with the fur, and it will generate the guides for you. But when I saw that, I thought, well, it takes me about 20 minutes to generate all those guides myself with hand. I mean, the level of the guides that it was generating. So it does save you time, but it's not worth um, like completely replacing a human for that because uh, you'll end up tweaking that and for let's say 20 minutes anyway. So might as well generate your own guides. That's the feeling I got. Now I know it will evolve and improve over time, maybe, but But yeah, I mean, these like machine learning solutions, they're not very different from any automation solutions that we already had with, say, Vex and Python and other stuff. But it's fancy, it's more modern, and will look good on your CV. Say, hey, I did this with machine learning. Yeah, but we are a very hype-driven world at the moment. Like everybody wants to hear fancy terms. Say, hey, this is done with Gen AI. Great, here's my investment. They don't understand it, but they invest because you use the words AI, machine learning. Well, you just made a line in a different way, slightly different way, or a creature, grooming, and unless it massively cuts the time and cost, they're really, you know, it's really not that important how you created it, whether you use AI or not. But right now, if you can incorporate even a little bit of AI in your workflow, your potential employers are going to like it, investors are going to like it. So I say just do something. I might do some AI thing with this at some point, just to say, hey, I know this stuff. I know you can do this with AI. So if that's what rocks your boat, sure enough. But for me, when I'm sure a lot of you will relate to it, is you're creating art. It doesn't matter. AI is a tool, so it doesn't like excite me that hey, I use machine learning or AI to create this as much as say, hey, I created this beautiful line from nothing. That excites me more, and I guess that's the artist in you that says that, whereas the techno freak might say, hey, I used AI to generate these guides, and like, yay, well done. I created the guides without AI, so anyway, thanks. But yeah, I mean, the AI debate, it will keep going for the next decade. And whether you will like it or not, it's here, so let's all welcome it any way we can. And but carry on with the hard stuff, because the hard stuff still needs humans to do. And yeah, let me know when all of this can be done with AI, please, because this is just dead, dead art. I mean, it's still nice. I mean, for those of us who do this and appreciate it, have done it for a while, yeah, we still don't mind doing it. But I'm more excited about what comes after the retopology, right? We all want to go back into ZBrush as soon as possible because that's where the art is. And yeah, still no one button click solution for this. I guess it's hard. I'm sure there are there's one plugin, I think Onco Octa something. Just go in the Superhive marketplace and look for that. They're doing a really good job with a new retopology tool, which currently only works with faces and human faces. Again, duh, easier to do humans than all these creatures, right? Because of all the reference you have. But I think their approach is really good. So you basically you'll be able to place some markers around, say, the eyes and mouth, just to indicate that that's what they are, and the algorithm can generate clean loops around those areas. And at least from the demo, the results looked better than uh, oh, I wouldn't say better than Zero Mesher, because Zero Mesher does a pretty good job out of the box with the help of polygroup it. Maybe I'll show. I mean, if you just Google, not Google, but search it on YouTube, polygroup it, you will see what I mean. You can get amazing, almost animation ready topology. Uh, but for clean, cartoony characters only, it's just not animation ready out of the box. You still have to go through the whole thing, see where you want to make the changes in. But I would bet that if I was doing like an animation thing, I might do um, a project where I've just used the zero measure and challenge myself to animate with what comes out. Because it is really good in that sense. But for VFX and production animation, actually, it might even be really good for games, but just not production animation stuff still. Unless that changed in the latest version and I'm not privy to it, do let me know. But last time I checked, yeah, still issues. And fixing those sometimes can be a nightmare. Sure, you can delete parts of the model and then remodel only those parts, but like I said, uh, what you end up keeping, something like say the belly area, it won't take long for you to hand model anyway. So I'm like, why do I need this massive algorithm to go through all that when I'm deleting the face part? It's just, yeah, it doesn't make all that sense. If there's something that allows you to create perfect face topologies with one button click, and it's not doing so much uh, of a good job around the legs or the belly, well, that'll be good. Achievable again. I'm just for this project, I consciously wanted to do retopology on Blender, and for those who are interested, they might find this useful. But yeah, why not we do a session where we try to get similar topology with just zero measure? Definitely something I could try. Just to see how long it takes to, say, modify the topology that it generates. And if you watched Michael Pavlovich's ZBrush content, I'm sure you would have come across a way to use the dynamics in ZBrush to wrap around some geometry. That is really cool. I mean, I did that in Master CG Creation course that I have on Udemy, where I tried to wrap some existing geometry onto the chimpanzee, and then model any parts that I couldn't do that way. I think that's the best compromise I found. And and yeah, if you want to, you can do this entire retopology right inside ZBrush. The last time I tried, I really liked it. There's the best thing about retopologizing in ZBrush is in the middle of the process, if you want to change the sculpt, you can just do that. Like right now, if I think, oh, I actually want to change the shape of these, I have to go back in ZBrush, do make those changes and bring the model back in. You don't have to do that in ZBrush. Just do it and on the subtool, the high res, and do a project, and there it is. It's all done. So I strongly recommend if any of you are zebra sculptors but use Blender for retopology or any other software, maybe give it a try inside ZBrush. I don't think you'll ever come back to this. I don't know why I came back to Blender, but it's just because um, it is popular among people, and I'm sure a part of this is also to try and get views, and people search for retopology in Blender quite a lot, right? So I want the algorithm to pick my videos up. That's one of the straightforward reasons, really. But in my course, Master Creature Creation, I did my entire retopology inside ZBrush using two or three different techniques. And yeah, I mean, if any of you are interested, you can get it from Udemy for really cheap. So check that out, or just follow some Michael Pavlovich's free YouTube videos, which also do that. I mean, at least if you're just after the technique, all you have to do is follow him. Ah, don't want that. I need to reduce my poly here. That's a lot of polys to reduce. It is not great, but we reduced it. Not quite what's happening here. Oh, right. So need a loop here. What will that do? Ah, okay, that's not too bad. Because yeah, it just went around. Yeah, sometimes when adding loops, I just am conscious of what the loop is doing. So if it like goes all the way up, say somewhere here, then I have to relax those vertices, and I may not even want that. So, but when it's like going around like that in the local area that I'm working on, I don't mind that so much. Because I'm still figuring out in this area, right, how much density it needs and all. So anything I add here is less painful to deal with. So here we got quite a bit of closeness going on. To be fair, this we need to create a. That's really not that great. Maybe it's fine for this one. I don't care. But maybe with these, you want it to be much better than this, because a lot of this is being covered by fur anyway, right? So you can get away with a lot of it, but when you're showing off your model as a portfolio piece, all of these kind of adds up, and people will wonder why you had just geometry like this and not go all around like a nice circular loop. So I will come back to that. Okay, so this is where are we? So we join this part, so we shall try and do the same on the other side, and then bridge these, and then finally the digits. Okay, so let's keep going. So yeah, we'll have to reduce polys. So I guess we could think of this coming like this and then turn around, and then we have this, but then we lose that. So let's not have that for now. Let's say we do it this way. No, I think we'll need to add another loop. So if we do that, what are we doing? Okay. I think it's best to do this, but I'll be going all the way up. Yeah, no, I don't want that. This, I think, is a better compromise. Let's see how that looks once you relax. So yeah, I don't really like that. So we get this pole, but I mean, this is where sometimes you gotta say, like, this is not really a deforming digit. This is not gonna like matter so much. So we could let that be, and it is still quad geometry, not the greatest edge flow, but it's not gonna harm this model in any way. But let's see what else we can do if not for this. So ideally, this needs to come and join to on there, and that'll be a nicer loop. And then we close that. Is that a lesser evil? Might be. I mean, we got a star there, this, but if I so see, there's a loop that goes all around here, but not there. Okay, I think this is better. So let's see what comes naturally by creating these polygons. So we're gonna have to reduce polys here. So let's see if that works. And this definitely does, because we're gonna change the direction here. Okay, so yeah, so that needs to be turned. So don't mind having another loop here, just to close this off cleanly. Oh, something not right. Oh, we have this loop going on. Okay. So I have this triangle, a loop there. We have this triangle to deal with here. Don't want that. Okay, let's go back. First of all, let's fix this. That's fixed. So I guess that's how we're gonna roll. Well, it's fine because we will need something to join to that. So turning the polygons this way makes sense. Although I don't really like uh, this star here. But yeah, there's a loop. As long as there's a loop that goes all around, that will help the finger deformations. And yeah, don't need to bother about anything else. Yeah, that's the one that we'll need. We don't have one here yet. Okay. Hmm. Let's bring this closer so we can cleanly close this off. Well, let's see. So going this way, and this will have to be straightened. So, mm, so you're going this way, and then from here, we're changing it. Not ideal, but let's see. So I want to have like a circular uh, loop going around this groove for the nails. So we'll have to come around, say like this, and then we'll figure out how to join this with the rest of the geometry. Yes. Right, now we can go this way. Okay, so that gives us something to close this off. So I'll stop there. So do we have a loop? Let's see. Poly edge loop. Not yet. So do let me know in the comments, guys, what you think about this so far. And if you're here, do check out some links that I have in the description. May interest you or not, but who knows? So I'm gonna finish this finger, and I think that'll be it for today because I've got some chores to do. Can't make it a long stream. Let me bring this one all the way down so I can add a loop later if required. Oh, that doesn't help. Does it not extrude? Maybe if I use extrude and say shift control alt, does it not get the loop? So I was trying to get like the inset kind of extrude, which you can get with normal extrude tool. Nah, let's just select the edge loop, face, grid fill. Oh, doesn't work. Okay, but I can extrude region. Try that. Let's turn off snapping just temporarily. Okay, just scale it down. Rubbish. Ah, forgot to turn this back on. Yep, now better. Yeah, it's workable. Could have been better, but does the job. I mean, for something that you probably never see, it's not too bad at all. So let's look at this in isolation. We have the major loop, so that's the deforming loop. So if I select that, obviously we need to work on this part because it currently doesn't have a loop and it goes crazy. So that's something we need to work on, and the other finger. But overall, I'd say this looks the way we expected to at this stage. That's decent. So yeah, I mean, I know this is the slow bit and does take a while, but once we finish this, I'm going to duplicate this geometry and try and wrap it around this instead of modeling from scratch. And that means we will be moving on to the ears and create just a mouth bag and call it done. So maybe one big session or two small sessions within the next week, and we should be finishing all that, and also this part, the tail, will also be finished pretty quickly because there's not a lot going on there. So yeah, let's reconvene in the next session where I will finish these fingers and maybe on another session for the rest of it. So thanks for joining me. I've got some chores to attend to, and I'll come back either at the weekend or next Wednesday. So until then, it's goodbye from me. Thank you for joining the stream today.